Welcome, brilliant minds. Today's video lesson, Class 8, Studying West African Kingdoms. Before we start today's lesson, I want to make sure we remind ourselves about our homework. So make sure you're turning to check to make sure you have your homework already in your binder, and then go ahead and open your agenda to today, which is Thursday, November 30th. And I already wrote my homework in here for you guys. You can draw an arrow across if you haven't already written it in. Come down to social studies and write in that you have your Africa Human Geography packet due tomorrow to help you study for that quiz. Today's shout outs go to a couple of students. The first student that's been working really hard to be a leader in the classroom is Efren, as well as Yaritza. These two students are getting all 3s and 4s this week. I'm really proud of you guys. I have 2 more shout outs, and these go to 2 students in my 5th period class who have been getting all 4s this week so far. I'm really proud of you guys as well. Excellent work, guys. So now that we have started studying West Africa, we've talked about Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. And today, our job is to determine the most important similarities amongst these kingdoms of West Africa by writing a paragraph with at least 3 of those similarities. In order to do that, we're going to be using the chart you guys already worked on for your Do Now. So make sure that you have opened up your textbook to page 428 if you haven't done so already. And page 428 looks like this with a chart at the top called African Trading Empires, and we're focusing on these 3 in West Africa. Okay, in order to set up our notes, to take notes on this, it's kind of creating a study guide for ourselves. We are going to create a box to take notes about Ghana, and we can write Ghana right here. We'll set up a box to take notes about Mali, and we can come down to the bottom of our page and we can take a box to take notes about Songhai. Okay. And because our goal is to think about the similarities, we also want to make sure we're drawing some space in the middle here to think about the similarities. So this could be, what do all 3 West African kingdoms have in common? Okay, this is saying what are their similarities. So for each of these, we can come back to get information from our chart. And our chart focuses on the time period, what they traded, and some key facts about how they gained power. So in order to represent these ideas, but saving some space and using images, we're going to represent these 3 ideas with images in each of our spaces in our study guide. So the first thing is a time period. So we'll put a little symbol for time. Then it was the goods traded, so we'll put a symbol for kind of what made them money. And we'll put an extra symbol about how they gained power, like we've been doing this symbol in our notes all week long. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and prepare the rest of my boxes in the same way with the same symbols, so I know I'll be thinking about when it existed, what they traded, and how they gained power for all 3 of these kingdoms. And now that I have my kind of study guide set up, I can go ahead and start to copy the most essential information, taking outside most essential information from our chart. So if I start with Ghana, I'm going to model this one for you. The first thing I notice is the when, right? It's 400 to 1200, and this is CE. So I'm going to start by writing here 400 to 1200 CE. And now I want to figure out what goods they traded. So I go back to my chart and I see goods traded, and I see that they traded iron, animal products, salt, and gold. Okay, so I'm going to write those down here. I'm going to write iron, animals, salt, and gold. And notice I'm not writing down every single word from the chart. I'm just using the most essential words. And now I'm going to think about last, what else do they do to gain power besides trade these items? So if I come back, I see they also were able to collect taxes that made Ghana rich. So I want to make sure I can write that down. So they collected taxes from the people who traded, the traders. Okay. So now you can see I wrote just very brief notes about each of these from the chart on page 428, and I want you to do the same for Mali. So right now you want to come back and see, when did the Kingdom of Mali exist? You want to take notes on what they traded, and you want to think about key facts of how else they gained power. Okay. Now is a good time to pause the video to make sure you can take notes on those items. When you're ready, you're going to move down to Songhai, and you're going to take notes on the chart on page 428 again. Come back and tell me, when did Songhai Kingdom exist? What did they trade? And how else did they gain power? Now is a good time to pause the video to take notes on these items from your chart. When you have finished your notes about Songhai, that means that you've done all three of the West African kingdoms, and now you need to focus on this part in the middle. What do all three West African kingdoms have in common? This is your similarities. So you want to start taking notes about, what did you notice that they all have in common? What did you write over and over and over again in each of these three boxes? Right? One thing I noticed in the chart was that I saw that all of them traded in salt. Okay? I want you to see what else you can see that you could add. I also add in trade. Okay? And see if you can think of at least 2 or even 3 more things they all had in common. Right? Once you've done that, I want you to star the ones that you think are the most important similarities. So, star most important similarities. Star the 3 most important similarities, because those are the 3 that you're going to write about when you come over to do your proving behavior. You're going to need to write a paragraph to answer, what were the most important similarities amongst the kingdoms of West Africa. You want to use probably about 3 similarities, so make sure in order to achieve this objective, you're using your boxes and using the notes you took here about the similarities and the ones that you starred in particular, okay? A couple of things that you're going to want to do to add on to studying. Once you finish this proving behavior, you're going to want Miss Casey to check it to give you a grade for the day for your classwork. You're also going to want to take some additional notes. See if you can get a 4 by telling me what was the first kingdom. Put number 1 by which of these came first. You can also make sure that you tell me who had the strongest leader by putting a crown by which of these 3 you think had the strongest leader. And you can draw kind of a little leaf growing out of the ground to show me which one had the largest territory. If I see these 3 symbols marking which of these 3 each of these corresponds to, you can also get a 4. And then once you've got your paragraph and your annotations done, there's a couple of things you can do to make sure you're studying for the test, the quiz tomorrow. So your study to-do list Number 1, you want to make sure that you have completed classworks 5, 6, 7, and 8. Next, you want to make sure that you have done your homework. And after you've done these, then you can go ahead and reward yourself by watching 3 film trailers, 2 votes on the one that you want to watch as our Film Friday for next week. You can find these links in the description below this video and also on the board. I hope you're proud of the work you did today, and I look forward to seeing your work on the quiz tomorrow and seeing which film you will vote for.